Hey. So, I think I'm going to eat a mango every time I go live. I think I've unlocked something about myself. Maybe not a mango, but this time I'm not going to chew while I talk. So, I am going to talk about standards, DayLife physical standards, part 2 today. And for those of you who have tuned in multiple times and know, I am in a cult called DayLife Army, based on the principles of Temple and DayLife Army. I claim both. You don't have to be in DayLife Army to claim Temple. But like I said, you know what? I think I like doing something like eating a mango. I remember that it's like it sets my priorities straight about what matters. Because sometimes I care too much about what other people think. And then I remember this mango is more important than that. Anyways, before I get into DayLife standards, which are DayLife physical standards, which are the building blocks of deprogramming from the pain matrix, they are the building blocks of being in this army. Everyone who has come IRL, or who is here, or who just wishes to try them. But really, it's only people who have come IRL under, like, accountability and supervision and, like, being around other people doing them have ever practiced all of DayLife's physical standards at the same time. So, these standards are what I'm continuing to go over in great detail. And the last one I left off on was no poetry. No, I lost a piece. And I just want to let you guys know, I've dated 2 poets. The first one was in high school. I'm going to talk about that actually next time. And he was a quote-unquote good poet too, you know. Got a full ride to Harvard. And still, poetry was the last thing either of them should have been doing. No one should be right now. Anyone who's writing poetry, I would rather hear them talk about themselves and their life. And I would rather they would be learning how to be like a functional human being rather than spending all that energy on poetry. Because, you know, it's kind of a waste. Anyways, let me get through a few of these, okay? No graphic violence or gore. No infantilization. Now, there's a reason my baby voice was banned here. I did not really mean to do it, but yeah, using it not a good look. No children plus adult sexuality. That's the one the pain matrix has a real sticky time with. If you aren't aware, most anyone who makes it high enough up in the pyramid there has a big problem with this one. I was just reading the other day about the founder, quote unquote, aka Op, who created Anonymous, the hacker collective, who is basically a filthy degenerate with issues around this standard. I'll leave it at that. But before I continue on with more of these DayLife physical standards, which, just a quick primer or overview, are all physical building blocks that IRL soldiers must follow to remain in DayLife Army. And they are where people start. And once you can become physically sovereign, sober, principled, have a baseline, that is what gives you the ability to then work on your intellectual, emotional, and spiritual bodies. And so, before I go into more of them though, make a wash of belief. If you are not aware, washing is how you it's how you transfer your belief out of the pain matrix and wash it into pleasure matrix expansion. And I'll leave it at that for today. I'll just do it. I'm not going to really explain it. For those of you who do wash, you know what begins to happen, and perhaps if you do make a wash, you can meet some of those people. And hear about it from someone else besides me. The links to wash financially are cash.me/$washitall, paypal.me/washitall, and you can DM me for crypto, government coin links. You can DM me for an address to send a wad of cash in the mail too. And applepay and zelle are laundruss, laundruss at automat.me. Automat is AUTUMAT. So, down these list of standards, and I think for the ones that I have an idea about how they apply in my own life, learning the standard or what ways that I had difficulty with it, I will go into it, because this kind of can be a little boring. But hey, some parts of life are boring, and they need to be. Enough excitement already. Y'all are having enough excitement in your lives. Oh, I keep losing these pieces of mango. No hiding. There's a difference between secret and sacred. I will leave that at that. De-weaponized. Mask-free. So, if you're on the internet and you're using a filter, don't do it. No clownery needed. just yourself as is for the world to see. If you're taking a photograph, don't wear a mask, literally. These standards were made far before the current PSYOP, but unless you're trying to avoid scent, mold, dust, or you're like in a place where it's a lot more complicated to not wear a mask than it is to just stay out of that storyline and wear one if you're going through the airport or whatever. If you're in a photograph or something, don't wear a mask. No hiding. Soft work. Soft work. People in this army do a lot of work. There's no denying that. And a lot of people come around thinking that's not the case. It's like, it's called the pleasure matrix. Isn't it just chilling? And quick side note, of all the people who have tried to do this, it is very, very difficult, by the way, to be this early to something like this, what General Koa is doing, this endeavor. Of everyone that's tried to come through here and do this, the only people of the youngins, anyone over 18 from... No one here has been, like, in their teens that's come here, like 18 or 19, but there have been people in their 20s and up, and no one who's come here has had a real job except for me and Jesus, the two that made it through. And I thought one more of us had a job until yesterday when I found out it was a paid internship through their college that they didn't even go to, barely, and worked from home. And yeah, it just made a lot more sense. Imagine being on Kratom every day and not realizing that your job is a contracted position. Okay. So, soft work. It's how you do work. Soft work. It's the types of work. It's not the types of work that the pain matrix fetishizes and places the most importance on. It's often the work people are avoiding through pain matrix types of labor instead. The Irish in me can tell you that much. I would rather fucking till a whole field than talk to somebody and be vulnerable about my emotional problems. Alright, I'm on the other half of this mango. Let's see, minimal editing. I'm gonna clarify on this one because in this year of Pleasure Matrix expansion, there are still some things that need to be edited literally, working on copy. Here in PR for the Pleasure Matrix, pretty retarded public relations. But going back on what you said, unsending things, not editing your expression or what you're saying. It's tied into no hiding. Spoken over written. That's an easy one for me to explain or talk about. Some of these, some of these are like a little different than the hardcore basics of physical standards that come a little later in the order I'm doing them. But spoken over written is like live streams. Do I edit these live streams? Do you see Jesus's live streams? Go over on DayLife Army YouTube. A lot of content is just like, there's no hiding, there's no masking, there's no editing. It's life and story, unfiltered and there in all of its sometimes mundanity. This is a pretty boring cult, you know? So anything that can be done, like voice memos, I basically am not really doing any typing in my day-to-day, as minimal as possible. If there's a possibility to send a voice memo to someone rather than text them, or to call them on the phone and talk to them, or to do a live stream, it's a lot of that stuff. And yeah, the oral tradition is where all the real shit passes on and goes through, and it requires relationships. Imagine that. So, let's see. Oh, it feels so nice in the sun right now. Oh. Do you see how much more relaxed I am when I am eating food while going live? Anyways, immediate, clear, appreciative, solid, basic. There you go. Tweets, selfies, live streams, spectacle-free performance. We are not at the cutting edge of clownery and court gesturing here at DayLife Army. There's no more to explore in that realm. Everything has been edged to the maximum edge lordington. Okay? All that stuff does is distract from real relationships with yourself and others. Now, people like to turn DayLife Army into a spectacle, or try, but it never really sticks or lasts. Okay. Light and bright colors. It's funny, like, when I was in high school, I decided that I was going to make a color study collage and like really solidify my palette. It was full of atonal grays and pastels, and that never really changed since I made that decision. And then part of the reason I really connected with Tumple, which came before DayLife Army, and I found out about Tumple before DayLife Army existed, and one of the big things that made me interested in go to the website was the color palette, because it was exactly the kind of colors that I liked, and even better than the ones that I had been using in my art. I'm losing quite a few pieces of fucking mango right now. I think it's a little too non-ripe. Anyways, yeah, the website and the colors that was used. It was exciting to imagine, like, not just using them in my art, but going down to basics and only using those colors entirely. Anyways, the artist in me was excited about it. But it goes a lot deeper than that. In fact, wearing all white makes everything but you the frame. You're the art. It draws attention to just the human being rather than the bells and whistles and like the cult of all the people that wear all black, and nothing is really said about that, but you're just hiding. You're hiding literally the stains that are all over your clothes that you can't see because you're wearing black too, let me tell you that much. So there's so many reasons for wearing white. It goes back to the discussion, or what I was talking about as being a like computer, and the least amount of data, excess data that you can have on physical things frees up the like processing power to process emotional, intellectual, and spiritual data. So wearing all white, just doing it makes you feel really good. Don't fucking tell me shit unless you have worn all white for a week, okay? Just literally do that and see what happens. For me, I kind of freaked out because I had never been so on display. It felt like I was no longer hiding, and vulnerability scares me. So it was really hard for me to start doing it, but I did feel better. I interacted with my physical surroundings more because I was more aware of them, because I could see everything I bumped up against, or if I sat on a dirty place, I was like, then I had to clean my clothes. I had to be extremely conscious of my body. As a white woman, that's a programming that is very disconnected from the body. And so it helped in all those ways. And decision fatigue, I had literally, I'm on the road now with like 3 outfits. I would like more outfits, I'll be honest. It's been enough time. But I don't spend all of this energy literally just picking out my clothing. And it's a very social thing, wearing all white. I'll just leave it at that. I'm not going to explain it anymore. Oh, I really do want to say though, like, you don't realize how dirty you are when you're not wearing white. Like, the things that you don't notice that are on your clothes. I take so much more care of my belongings now. And if you're a slob, it's really like, you can't hide it, and it just encourages you to stop being one. You know? Now, the standards from here on out are a bit more, like I said, basic. Basic. I think I went a little backwards here, putting these first. But the ones I'm going to go into now are like a lot more related to the idea of being this whatever thing I keep talking about being a computer. The original computers, human beings. And how to keep your processors clean, freed up of gunk, no excess data. The all white, I said. Not just your clothes. Make white your foundation. Make white your foundation for your life. Your cars, clothes, furniture, walls, sheets, shoes, bags, hats, glasses, and accessories. Once you've mastered wearing all white, and you're following physical standards, you're at a certain level, you can put in those little pops of different color that are bright or light. A little pink, a little light blue, a little, something. But white is the base and the foundation. It's what is the majority. Unscented is a very important one. They're all very important, but your soap, your deodorant, your lotion, your detergents for cleaning dishes in the dishwasher, in the sink, your laundry detergent, your cleaning products, and not just like the blue laundry detergent that doesn't say like lavender, bramble, bay, or whatever. Literally no scent, perfume, or dye. Free and clear. And some of this is a no-brainer, like you don't want endocrine disrupting chemicals that most of these products have, and hormonal, that's disrupting your hormones, that system. And you don't want chemicals that most people can see what that means to like be messing up your body's systems and how they process things, getting in the way of that. But you're like, Sergeant Major Mary, what about just like perfume or having like lavender body lotion? What the hell is so wrong with that? It's natural. Yes, some scents are natural, but at this day and age, being bombarded with data at every turn, scents are something that do not keep you sober. People use scents to get an emotional high. And this is a 2,000-year plan. It's not forever that you should avoid scent, but if you're doing something like intensive deprogramming from the pain matrix and like you're joining a goddamn social military dedicated to this process of deprogramming, and you're starting in the physical realm, by golly, all scents, bro. All scents. It's too exciting. You're taking away all of that kind of stimuli that you use as a crutch. You're like, let me not deal with my emotions and process them. Let me just huff this body spray. And to some of you, this might sound completely bonkers. And to that I say, you have not tried it. You have not done a week following every one of these physical standards. If you do, please get back to me about how it did not work. Open to talking once you have done that. Clean your spaces. Floss. Brush teeth. Use a washcloth when you shower. Do your laundry often, once a week. Sheets too, not just your clothes. Pillowcases. Towels. Dust. Weekly at a minimum. Stay well groomed. I follow this particularly fabricated culture called the dirtbag left. Literally called dirtbag. Now, what do these people have in common? They're all disgusting. And everyone that likes to have that culture as their particular handlers are disgusting too. People that supposedly went to college to learn bright ideas without learning the basics of how to wash their ass and keep a house. Which, if you do not learn, your life will be chaotic. In all the other realms, if your physical environment is not on lock, you don't respect yourself enough to fully treat your environment with care. I have brushed my teeth and flossed them every day since I came here. And that was not the case before. Why am I so interested in the pipeline of the DIY cults of the pain matrix and the dirtbag left and all that shit? Because I was a part of it. I was really disgusting before I came here. I hardly flossed. That's right. Sometimes I didn't brush my teeth in the mornings. I washed my clothes when I could not bear to go any longer without any other clothing and had to walk to the laundromat like a crazy person. I did not wash my sheets very often. Maybe once a month. I did not know and did not spend the time looking up and practicing and committing to learning how to take care of my body, the hair type and skin type that I had. Hell, I didn't even know the skin condition that I had before I came here. I had to get taken care of by a black woman who's like, how the fuck are these white kids living where they walk around not knowing these things about their bodies? We're little brains in brainstem vats walking around. That's how we've been programmed. So I was taught a lot of things that are embarrassingly basic that improved every part of my life so much as soon as I made them into habits, which take about 90 days to solidify for doing something that long consistently. Now, I'm not going to give this information away on this live because bad track record of hardly any washers ever coming from this portion of the world. But there is a skin condition that affects mostly white women, especially white women who have issues with drinking in their past, or maybe wondering if they have gluten intolerance. The great specter. And as soon as I figured out what that was, I didn't figure it out. General Koa did. I was able to figure out how to treat it, and my skin improved a lot. It was not acne, actually. So, these are what would seem like basic things that most adults, quote unquote, do not do, let alone people are doing it more so now, more and more, quitting drinking or not smoking, but then they're just doing psilocybin or a slow drip of ketamine nasal spray, or still smoking cigarettes, or being hypercaffeinated. There's always one little thing at the very basic level of sobriety. Literally basic level of sobriety is no literal intoxicants. But people who are not getting 100% with that, they also haven't gotten, there's a bunch of kids. They haven't gotten to, like, physical standards that you're supposed to learn as a child. Like, your parents are supposed to teach you, and you're supposed to, like, go off to college or go off on your own or do whatever as the start of being an adult and have these and healthy habits instilled and these physical standards that people just don't, let alone figuring out how to get off of this cocktail of fucking bullshit that you have to use every day to survive. But it goes in layers. And yeah, until I had started washing belief, I was really not starting any of it. There's not much you can do or want to do or are capable of doing before you've mastered the stopping of literal, like, intoxicants, and go from there. Anyways, I finished my mango, and I think I've gone on long enough today. DayLife physical standards. Probably the only thing I could say I've even come close to mastering. Intellectual standards and emotional standards in order. I have gone through intellectual standards and am now in the section of emotional standards. But probably what I have the most ability to talk and speak on now, as I've gone the farthest with them and they have been going on for the longest, are physical standards. And I can't tell you and have you understand unless you do them in action. But a great way to begin would be to be making a wash, a financial wash, and then everyone I know who follows standards to varying degrees of their ability are all people who have started to wash belief. It is connected, and it is a holistic experience. Someone was talking on Twitter the other day about all these holistic thought bots on the internet. So make a wash, close out with the usual. This is sponsored. This show, the DayLife Mary show, is sponsored by the Automat. And actually today, when talking about the DayLife physical standards, DayLife standards in general, this is actually the Butter show. Butter is the pleasure matrix PR from your resident white woman, and the DayLife Mary show just gets a little more personal. So we'll probably be coming back next with that. But make a wash to the Automat, cash.me/$washitall, paypal.me/washitall, multiples of 12. And from there you can begin other forms of washing, but that is the most basic and where you are at and able to handle if you have not washed before. Have a great rest of your day. I hate you.